Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Alright, our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Stepdaughter that, that vampires aren't real? That's right. We're gonna start off this Christmas season with vampires. What
Yay!
could go better with Christmas than vampires?
Exactly.
I hear they sparkle in sunlight.
No.
I'm a 32-year-old male, and I married my wife, a 24-year-old female, a year ago, and I have a stepdaughter, a 5-year-old female. Before we got married, the three of us went out to dinner, and my now stepdaughter got a steak. At the end of the meal, she started licking the meat juice from the plate. I told her to stop, but my now wife told me to let her be. Later that night, my wife explained to me that my stepdaughter had a problem in the past with picky eating. My wife was worried that she wasn't getting enough protein and decided on a creative way to explain the importance of getting enough protein. Specifically, she decided to tell my stepdaughter that they were vampires. That's right, folks. The good old "you're a vampire and have to eat meat" lie that we all tell children in order to get them to eat meat. And that she would die if she didn't get enough blood. because because my stepdaughter is a child, she believed my wife and started eating whatever meat was put in front of her. My wife was also able to use the vampire thing to convince her to eat tomatoes, beets, and other red vegetables. I thought this seemed kind of cute and creative until today, when my stepdaughter got suspended from kindergarten. She bit another child on the neck, apparently in an attempt to drink his blood. When she and my wife got home, I overheard her explaining to my stepdaughter that she needs to be, quote, a nice vampire who doesn't bite. And I thought it was a little bit ridiculous. Later, I saw my stepdaughter petting and kissing my dog's neck. I freaked out. I was scared that she was about to bite my dog. She claimed that she was just petting him. I told her to go to her room, where I explained to her that vampires aren't real and that her mom lied to her. She immediately burst into tears and ran to my wife. My wife is mad at me for making her daughter cry and overriding her parenting. Maybe I did, but the situation was clearly getting out of hand, and I thought it was best just to stop lying to her. My wife says that she had things under control and that the vampire lie is no different from lying about Santa. Still, something had to be done. Am I the jerk? Alright, folks, what do you think about this situation?
Not the jerk.
I mean, she has a point. It isn't really that much different from lying about Santa.
Except you don't usually fight people.
Yes, but I mean, you know, this is such an this is a funny one. It really is. I heard that Amber was explaining this one to me, and I knew from the very moment she explained it to me that I had to read this one. It doesn't have its uncomplicated factors. Like, she is right. This is like Santa. This is kind of like that, except for maybe a little more destructive, in the respect that if you tell a kid that they're a vampire, then they're gonna potentially get some funny ideas in their head, like they need to bite the other children in the class or dogs. I think and another problem is, like, in traditional, like, mythologies, vampires tend to be like immortal and stuff like that. So what happens if she thinks she's immortal? What happens when she thinks that she can start flying? How long was the wife planning on letting this go for? Was she, like, going to, tell her, in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years? Was she never going to tell her and just let her figure it out on her own? I think that's problematic. And another difference between Santa and vampires is that, like, one kid can tell a whole classroom of kids, oh, Santa doesn't exist, and kids can either believe it or not believe it, but there's always kind of, like, I think at some point in time, at some age, kids are going to start being like, well, Santa's not real, right? On their own. And the trouble is that there's never going to be, like, that other group kind of, like, discussion. There is no, like, oh, is Santa real or Santa fake? Or is are you a vampire real or are you a vampire fake type of thing. So it does add a little bit more of a complicated layer there. So I definitely think OP probably think that OP isn't the jerk in this situation. I think that spoiling the illusion was probably doing the daughter more of a favor than bad, but I'm really curious if anyone else has a differing opinion on that. Like, do you think that this was more destructive of OP to tell the daughter the truth? I'm really curious. I would like to see another perspective there. So, yeah. Anyhow, take care and good luck. And don't go to sleep, OP. Not the jerk. This has clearly bypassed being a little lie a parent tells to get their kids to eat their vegetables. If she's actively hurting other children, something needs to change. That's a really good point. Given that she is hurting other kids because of the lie, it is appropriate for you to step in and say something if the mom does not. You were right to leave it be when it was just licking plates. You were right to step in when she started biting people and eyeing the family dog. The family dog bit especially gets me because, like, okay, like if she actually went and bit that dog, then I mean, what's gonna potentially stop that dog from like lashing out or something like that? And that could actually really hurt her, and cause her like permanent damage. And I think that that's a really good thing to get under control before she starts biting dogs. But that's just me. All right. Our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Unpacking My Girlfriend's Towel? Amber first read the title to me on this one, and I'm like, what could possibly be wrong with unpacking someone's towel? Let's get into that. Am I the jerk for unpacking my girlfriend's towel? I'm a 31-year-old male, and my girlfriend is a 25-year-old female, and we've been dating for about 2 years. My girlfriend has beautiful hair that seems a lot more low maintenance than most women's that I know. She doesn't use 100 different hair products in her hair, nor does she blow dry it. Honestly, it doesn't take her long to style her hair or anything. However, she's always insistent upon using a special towel to dry her hair. She insisted that she can't use any regular towel for her hair, and she gets mad if I use her hair towel as a regular towel too. She says that the towel should only be used for hair. She even bought an extra one of these towels that she keeps in her drawer at my place. She also takes the towel with her whenever she goes on vacation. Sounds like a mighty important towel to have around. I usually don't mind since the towel doesn't take up much space and it's better than listening to a hairdryer all the time. But it's a bit weird because I don't know anyone else who uses a towel just for their hair. For Thanksgiving, we traveled to see my family. Before the trip, I asked my girlfriend to leave her towel at home since we'll be staying at my parents' house. I didn't want my family to think she was weird or make fun of her. So what OP is saying right here is that he didn't have the guts to stand up to his family if they started ragging on her. Since we planned on leaving early in the morning, my girlfriend spent the night at my place. I noticed that she had packed the towel and kept it in my place in her suitcase. When she was asleep, I took the towel out. She didn't notice the towel was gone until after we got to my parents' house. I thought it was going to be okay, and my girlfriend didn't seem mad at all during the whole trip. However, when we got back to my place, my girlfriend got into her car and drove off without saying goodbye. She texted me later that she's mad at me because of the stupid towel and needs some space. Apparently it wasn't that stupid, eh? I kept calling and texting her, but she won't respond. My friends think that she's being overly dramatic, but my girlfriend isn't that type of person. Now I'm wondering if I messed up. Am I the jerk? Gee, I wonder, OP. Could you possibly be the jerk in this situation? So your whole reasoning here is, I didn't want my family to make fun of her. Or you didn't want your family to think she was weird for using a towel in her hair. And again, like in that whole thought process, you never were like, well, I'll have to stand up to my parents if they are, mean to her. Because I guarantee that there are people who have a whole lot harder problems to defend their partners against in their families. Like, we just read a story yesterday, in fact, with some racist people. And You're just like, oh well, I don't want them to make fun of her or think she's weird for using a towel. You know what, OP? Get over yourself. I think your girlfriend has probably gotten over you, so good luck. And by the way, I don't think that she's your girlfriend anymore. Just a hint. Just a smidgen of a hint. Maybe don't steal people's towels, invade their privacy, and be worried about what other people will think of them if they dry their hair in a special way. You say that she has this long, beautiful hair, and it's low maintenance, and you wonder how she does it and gets away with it, and you can't think for just 1 minute that maybe it's the towel. Maybe it's the towel, OP. I don't know. Oh my goodness. But anyhow, good luck. I mean, really, honestly, I think that you messed up pretty bad here. You're the jerk, and Douglas Adams can explain why better than I. A towel, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy says, is about the most massively useful thing an interstellar hitchhiker can have. Partly, it has a great practical value. You can wrap it around you as warmth, and you can bound across the cold moons of Jagabeta. You can lie on it in the brilliant marble sanded beaches of Sagittarius 5, inhaling the heady sea vapors. You can sleep under it beneath the stars which shine so readily on the desert world, Kakharoon. Use it to sail a mine raft down the slowly heady river Moth. Wet it for use in hand-to-hand combat, wrap it around your head to ward off noxious fumes, or avoid the gaze of the ravenous bug bladder beast of Trowel. Such mind-bogglingly stupid animals. It assumes that if you can't see it, it can't see you. You can wave your towel in emergencies as a distress signal, and of course dry yourself off with it if it still seems to be clean enough. So apparently I have been facing the wrong direction this entire time, but now folks, I can show you my book here. So this is, of course, oh, it's got apparently too much green in the label here and you can see through it, but it's The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is the book. This is the trilogy in 5 parts, and it's a really good read, so I do suggest reading it. All right, our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for calling the bride a bridezilla? My best friend was getting married to his now wife on Saturday. My cousin is a DJ and they hired him for the wedding. The couple had apparently requested some songs to be put on the playlist. They had requested their entrance and their first song and dance, well, like usual. My cousin went on to put the entrance song on, but it was a different song than the one they requested. The bride was about to cry, and my best friend, the groom, tried to comfort her. They ended up making their entrance, but all the while, after my cousin texted me privately that he had took a different playlist, USB by accident, and they left the actual wedding playlist at home. He accidentally brought another weddings playlist. When he told me that, I asked to speak to the groom and I notified him and he got upset. Then the bride came to ask what was up and I told her it was nothing to worry about, but the groom probably told her and she went to the DJ really mad. And she was about to have a mental breakdown. I went there next to them while the bride was scolding my cousin slash DJ, and I told her it's okay, it's just music. You shouldn't let that ruin your whole wedding. And you're acting like those entitled bridezillas. Her sister, who was also the maid of honor, heard that, and she told me to get out of there and take my worthless DJ cousin with me. My cousin refused to apologize because things like that happen very often. Oh my goodness. And shouldn't be a big... What? No, they don't happen that often. Your DJ cousin is terrible if this is happening all the time. What? Then both the bride and the groom called him unprofessional and demanded a refund, which they should have. I left the venue with my cousin, and the day after I was bombarded with texts from friends and the couple's family calling me the jerk for daring to shame the bride for feeling disappointed because my cousin was irresponsible and unprofessional and how he almost ruined their entire wedding day. From what I gathered from the text, the distant cousin of the bride had worked as a DJ in the past in some gigs, and apparently she improvised and saved the day by using the venue's equipment. I didn't believe that was possible, and they probably just said it to make us feel ashamed for my cousin ruining the playlist. Am I the jerk anyways? Everyone says I'm a jerk. Except for my DJ cousin, who says that I'm not a jerk, but he's the one who everyone was mad at. So, without, am I a jerk in this situation? It's like, oops, I apparently am so frustrated that I banged the keyboard. What? OP, yes. Yes, she wasn't acting like an entitled bridezilla. An entitled bridezilla is someone who's acting unreasonable for a situation. This was a very reasonable reaction to have your music playlist just completely wiped out. And I'm glad that she had someone else there who could take up the mantle of being the DJ there and save the wedding from, this tremendous failure here. On your cousin's part. If this happens all the time with your cousin, then he needs to not DJ weddings anymore. Just plain and simple. Like, do everyone a favor, OP's cousin, and stop being a DJ if you can't get your act together long enough to DJ someone's wedding properly. Really, honestly, that's the best advice I can give here. Tell your cousin not to be irresponsible. Get your act together, man. Alright, anyhow, take care and good luck. Yeah, you're the jerk. You shouldn't call someone a bridezilla at their own wedding because the DJ messed up and brought all the wrong music. Most people only get to walk down the aisle once, and if the person that you are paying money to make that how you imagine it messes up, then yeah, you should be upset. And it also sounds like your cousin is also really unprofessional of a DJ and is also kind of a jerk. Not to mention how insane it is that he's using the "it happens very often" defense for the DJ bringing the wrong playlist. How is it that the DJ messes up the very core of his job at a frequency he himself says is very often, but somehow means it should be okay that he brought the wrong playlist when his only job was to bring the playlist that the couple actually paid for? Exactly. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. And if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Inhaling the heady sea vapors.